My name is Joan Taylor, and I'm a writer. I am the author of 4 books: Food for the Soul, Living on Purpose, The Veil of Silence, and Hope Abounds. I am a speaker and a teacher as well as a life coach. I've been in ministry since 2004, and I'm a survivor of domestic violence. Thank you for joining me for day 40, From the Wilderness to the Promised Land. Today's message is titled, From the Manifestation to the Promise. In Genesis, we see that God spoke everything into existence: sun, moon, stars, day and night, animals, plants, oceans, human beings. When God spoke, something was manifested. So, how does manifestation relate to our lives? The manifestation of everything in our lives has already been spoken. The promises are already there waiting for us. The question is if we're going to have faith in order to reach the promises of God. Jeremiah 1:5 teaches us that before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I set you apart. God's word also tells us that I know the plans that I have for you. So our purpose and the plan and God's will for our life has already been manifested. The question is, are we going to reach it? When we look at miracles, promises of God, and things that have already been set up, if we are set apart, the question is, are we living set apart lives? Are living set apart, I believe, means are we going to exercise our faith and trust and perseverance with God in order to reach every blessing, every miracle, every promise that He has already manifested, from the manifestation to the promises God has for you? Are we willing to have faith and trust and perseverance to fulfill God's purpose for our lives? Every single ounce of our lives is going to be directed by if we are willing to meet God. God is already 50 million steps in front of us. Our lives have already been mapped out. So are we going to be willing to take one step of faith in order to meet the 55 million steps of faith that God has already taken? The plans, the promises, the miracles, the blessings that God has already laid out for us. God gave us free will. God's perfect will will not the perfect will of God will not override the free will of mankind. In giving us free will, God has also given us wisdom. And our wisdom will allow us to align ourselves with His perfect will. So if we want to see the manifested promises of God that have already been spoken and have already been laid out for us, the question then for us is, are we willing to live set apart lives? He calls us set apart. Are we willing to live that way? The promises of God are there waiting for us. Are we willing to reach them? If this message has encouraged you, consider sharing it with a friend. If this message has blessed you, empowered you, and encouraged you, consider sowing a seed on joantaylor.org. We would really appreciate you subscribing to this channel. Until next time.